How people are taking shaheed there like there's just nothing wrong with them because they're seeing the goodness, what's coming to them. And that's all the signs, man, of a good ending. Alright, and the most important thing in our life is husn al-khitam, the good ending. And the only way to get a good ending is to every day live like it's your last day. So do good every day. Every day you got to do good because you don't know if that's your last day. Because there's nothing worse in life than dying on the wrong way. There's no coming back.
Are you ready to tell him?
Oh my God.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون.
In Islamic terminology, Hajj is a pilgrimage made to the Kaaba, the house of Allah, in the sacred city of Mecca in Saudi Arabia. It is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, alongside Shahada, oath that one believes there is no God but Allah, Salat, prayer, Zakat, almsgiving, and Saum, fasting of Ramadan. The Hajj is an annual practice when Muslim brotherhood is on display and their solidarity with fellow Muslim people and submission to God, Allah, is fulfilled. The word Hajj means pilgrimage made to the Kaaba, a long pious journey taken by Muslims to cleanse their souls of all worldly sins, which connotes both the outward act of a journey after death and the inward act of good intentions. The rites of pilgrimage are performed over 5 to 6 days, extending from the 8th to the 12th or 13th of Dhu al-Hijjah, the last month of the Islamic calendar. Because the Islamic calendar is lunar and the Islamic year is about 11 days shorter than the Gregorian year, the Gregorian date of Hajj changes from year to year. In 2023 AD, 1444 AH, Dhu al-Hijjah extends from June 19th to July 18th. The Hajj is associated with the life of Islamic prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, from the 7th century AD, but the ritual of pilgrimage to Mecca, stated in Muslim sources, stretches back to the time of Abraham. During Hajj, pilgrims join processions of millions of Muslim people who simultaneously converge on Mecca for the week of the Hajj and perform a series of pre-Islamic rituals reformed by Muhammad, peace be upon him. Each person wears a single piece of unstitched white clothing, ihram, walks counterclockwise 7 times around the Kaaba, a cube-shaped building, and the direction of prayer for Muslims. Kiss the black stone mounted on the corner wall of Kaaba, walks briskly back and forth between the hills of Safa and Marwa 7 times, then drinks from the Zamzam well, goes to the plains of Mount Arafat to stand in vigil, spends a night in the plain of Muzdalifah, and performs symbolic stoning of the devil by throwing stones at 3 pillars. After the sacrifice of cattle, which can be accomplished by using a voucher, the pilgrims then are required to either shave or trim their heads, if male, or trim the ends of their hair, if female. A celebration of the 4-day global festival of Eid al-Adha proceeds afterwards. May also undertake an Umrah, or lesser pilgrimage, to Mecca at other times of the year. However, the Umrah is not a substitute for the Hajj, and Muslims are still obligated to perform the Hajj at some other point in their lifetime if they have the means to do so. According to the official published statistics, between 2000 and 2019, the average number of attendees is 2,269,145 per year, of which 1,564,710 come from outside Saudi Arabia, and 671,983 are local. The year 2012 marks the highest number of participants, 3,161,573. In June 2020, while not canceling the Hajj outright, the Saudi government announced that they would only welcome, quote, very limited numbers of pilgrims who are residents of Saudi Arabia due to the global COVID-19 pandemic. Similar restrictions applied in 2021, but women were permitted to attend without a male guardian, mahram, provided they went in a trustworthy group.
107 people were killed when a crane toppled over at Makkah's Grand Mosque on 11 September, less than 2 weeks before the annual Hajj pilgrimage. Saudi Arabia's Civil Defense Authority added that at least 238 people were wounded in this accident. According to the Ministry of External Affairs of India, 2 Indians have also died, leaving 15 other Indians badly injured. Photos and videos on social media showed the crane crashing through the mosque roof and the aftermath, with bodies, blood and debris spread all across the courtyard. The crane fell 10 days before the start of Hajj, which is the annual pilgrimage expected to bring 2 million people to Makkah.
Scores of people were killed in the holy city of Mecca on Friday when a construction crane collapsed into the Grand Mosque during a violent rainstorm, Saudi officials said. By late Friday, more than 100 people were reported dead and dozens injured, according to local officials. The accident comes only days before the start of the annual Hajj pilgrimage, which is expected to bring more than 2 million religious tourists to Saudi Arabia. More than 500,000 pilgrims already have arrived to the kingdom in preparation for the event.
Here's some video that was just put on YouTube by a witness.
On a Friday afternoon, September 11, 2015, less than 2 weeks before the Hajj pilgrimage, a powerful storm took down a giant construction crane at the Grand Mosque in Mecca. It crashed onto hundreds of pilgrims inside the mosque compound. 111 people died, hundreds more were injured. The majority of the victims were from Iran, Turkey, Afghanistan, Pakistan and Egypt. Saudi King Salman visited the scene of the disaster and ordered an investigation. He also visited the injured in hospital. The royal palace announced that victims and their families would be compensated 1 million Saudi riyals, or $266,000 for every death, and half that amount for each of the injured. Contracts with the giant Bin Laden construction group, which was in charge of the renovation of the Grand Mosque, were suspended. A travel ban was imposed on its senior staff pending the results of the investigation. The investigating committee accused the company of contravening the manufacturer's instructions that the crane should be lowered when not in use or during heavy winds. But a Saudi court said there wasn't enough evidence and cleared the Bin Laden group of any responsibility. Instead, it found the extreme weather conditions, heavy rain, lightning strikes and high winds were to blame, and not human neglect. The court lifted the travel ban on the group's employees and ruled that no diya or blood money is to be paid to the victims. Saudi Arabia's Attorney General says he'll appeal the ruling. There was dismay too from social media activists. The compensation pledged by King Salman was seen as a gesture of royal compassion and nothing to do with the so-called blood money. But it's not clear if or when that money will be paid.
On September 24th, 2015, a fatal crowd crush resulted in the death of more than 2,000 individuals, many of whom were suffocated or crushed during the annual Hajj pilgrimage in Mina, Mecca, Saudi Arabia, making it the deadliest Hajj disaster in history. Estimates of the number of dead vary. The Associated Press reported 2,411 dead, while Agence France-Presse reported 2,236 killed. The government of Saudi Arabia officially reported 2 days after the disaster that there had been 769 deaths and 934 injured. These figures remained official at the time of the next year's Hajj and was never updated. The largest number of victims were from Iran, followed by Mali and Nigeria. The crush occurred in Mina at the intersection of streets 204 and 223 leading to Jamarat Bridge. The cause of the disaster remains in dispute. the Mina disaster inflamed tensions between regional rivals Saudi Arabia and Iran, which were already elevated due to the wider turmoil in West Asia, such as the Syrian Civil War and the Yemeni Civil War. In a press conference held on the day of the disaster, Saudi Ministry of Interior spokesman Mansour al-Turki attempted to address most issues regarding the disaster. He said in September 2015 that an investigation was ongoing and that the exact cause of the overcrowding that resulted in the deadly crush had not yet been ascertained. The Hajj is an annual pilgrimage in Mecca prescribed as a duty for Muslims to perform at least once during their lifetime if they can afford to do so physically and financially. The Hajj consists of a series of rites, including the stoning of the devil, which is done at the Jamarat Bridge in Mina, a district a few miles east of Mecca. The Jamarat Bridge is a pedestrian bridge from which pilgrims can throw pebbles at the 3 Jamra pebble pillars. The stoning ritual is the last major ritual and the part of the Hajj with the most potential for disaster, given its large crowds, confined spaces, and precise scheduling. The 2015 Hajj occurred during a time of regional turmoil, including wars in Syria, Iraq, Yemen, and Libya, the highest temperatures in Mecca in 20 years, the threat of mares, and pre-existing tensions between Saudi Arabia and Iran. A number of Hajj-related crowd crush disasters have occurred in the past, with 1,426 people being suffocated and trampled to death in a 1990 tunnel tragedy, and at least 701 people killed in crowd crushes between 1991 and 2005.
A record 2.5 million Muslim worshippers congregated in Mecca this year. Dressed in seamless white robes, they prayed peacefully on Friday at the top of Mount Arafat. This was the most sacred day on the Islamic calendar, and by Monday, many had left. Still, up to 250 pilgrims died in the stampede at Mina, where Muslims go to ritually stone the devil. It's not the first time that the pilgrimage to Mecca has ended in tragedy. These pictures were taken at the worst disaster in 1990. Thousands of Muslims died in a stampede that followed a fire in a pedestrian tunnel in Mecca. The Saudi authorities then spent millions of dollars on widening the roads and building new tunnels and overhead passes. It even imposed quotas on the number of nationals each Muslim country could send to Mecca. And yet, 4 years on, the rescue workers were back on the scene, carrying new victims of the holy celebrations. The cause of this year's tragedy may be in dispute, but overcrowding.
On this holy day for Muslims, a stampede as the faithful celebrated Eid al-Adha. The streets filled up with bodies. This woman from Egypt says pilgrims pushed each other to the ground. I thought I was going to die, she says. Her husband did.
one of the Hajjs in Saudi Arabia and a privileged holy face from days long before Muhammad.
Once before in prison, the truth came and blinded me. Well, it has happened again. In the past, I've made sweeping indictments of all white people. And these generalizations have caused injuries to some white folks who did not deserve them.
Because of the spiritual rebirth which I was blessed to undergo as a result of my pilgrimage to the holy city of Mecca, I no longer subscribe to sweeping indictments of one race. I intend to be very careful not to sentence anyone.
Very careful not to sentence anyone who has not been proven guilty.
I am not a racist.
I am not a racist. And I do not subscribe to any of the tenets of racism. In all honesty and sincerity, it can be stated that I wish nothing but freedom, justice, and equality.
They were Muslim faithful from around the world, crushed to death just outside Islam's holiest city of Mecca. One man saying people were climbing over one another just to breathe. This comes less than 2 weeks after another disaster, a crane collapse that left over 100 dead.
Almost a month after what is said to be the deadliest Hajj stampede in history, the Associated Press reports the death toll has passed 2,000. Figures released by 34 foreign governments affected by the tragedy seem to back up the tally, although Saudi Arabia, where the incident took place, has not updated its official toll since late September. Mali is thought to have lost at least 198 pilgrims. Volunteers have set up a crisis centre to help locate those still missing. This volunteer says parents come to post photos of those who are missing, and volunteers from Mecca have gone to the hospitals to compare photos of those wounded. The Hajj religious festival is the world's largest annual gathering of people. This year, some 2 million Muslims set out on the pilgrimage to Mecca. This man's mother is among the hundreds missing. As of today, he says, we've still not had any information. It will soon be 1 month and we've still not mourned, if in fact there's any need to do so. This woman is hoping for news of her grandfather. Having no news of your father, mother, son or daughter for a month, not knowing who to talk to and having no reference point, it's just unbearable, she says. It's horrific. There have been regular accidents on the pilgrimage, despite the Saudi authorities spending billions to improve infrastructure.
According to a statement by the Saudi Civil Defense Directorate, the crash occurred Thursday, September 24th, 2015, at 9 o'clock Mecca time, 6 o'clock UTC, at the junction between Street 204 and 223, as pilgrims were en route to the Jamrat Bridge. The Saudi Interior Ministry stated that the crush began when 2 large groups of pilgrims intersected from different directions onto the same street. The area was not identified previously as dangerous. The junction lay between two pilgrim campsites. The International Business Times reported that the governor of Mecca province and Saudi Arabia's director of the main Hajj committee, Prince Khalid bin Faisal Al Saud, blamed the crush outside the holy city on, quote, some pilgrims with African nationalities, unquote, prompting condemnation from several African government officials. In a press conference held the day of the disaster, spokesman of the Ministry of Interior Mansour al-Turki attempted to address the disaster. He said that an investigation was ongoing, that the exact causes for crowding that resulted in the deadly stampede on Mina Street 204 are yet to be ascertained. What happened was that a group of pilgrims on buses were allowed to descend onto the pathways that led to the Jamrat Bridge at a time that wasn't allocated to them. Al Arabiya News Channel correspondent in Mina, Sayad Al-Matrafi said, as they neared the area, they converged with an existing group of people that were already in the area, which pushed the area to overcapacity. One day after the Mina crush disaster, Saudi media publicized a statement by the Grand Mufti of Saudi Arabia, Abdul Aziz ibn Abdullah al-Ashik, exonerated Crown Prince Mohammed bin Nayef, known as MBN, from responsibility for the disaster, as his title of Minister of the Interior holds him accountable for safety issues at the Mecca Shrine. The Grand Mufti's statement, which characterized the disaster as beyond human control, inevitable, and attributable to fate, immunized MBN against possible domestic criticism. The exact casualty number for the Mina crowd crush is disputed. The Saudi government officially reported 769 deaths, a number that was not changed, while Iranian media sources have proposed totals as great as 4,173. After a withdrawn early number given by Saudi authorities, independent estimates range between 2,236 and 2,431 people killed, with the most recent Associated Press estimate giving a death toll of 2,411 based on media reports and official comments from 36 of the over 180 countries that sent citizens to the Hajj. Estimates of the injured and missing also vary greatly. Saudi reports claim 934 injured. Iranian reports are much higher, estimating more than 2,000 injuries. On the day of the disaster, the Saudi Civil Defense Directorate stated that casualties were of multiple nationalities and announced the deployment of 4,000 personnel to the crush site, alongside 220 emergency response units. Pilgrims were redirected away from the crush site, and the Saudi Red Crescent Authority was mobilized. Medics at Mina's emergency hospital said they alone received almost 700 people on the day of the disaster. The 8 hospitals around the Hajj landmarks and the 6 main hospitals in the city of Mecca were operating at full capacity after the crush, medics said. By October 2015, the Saudi Arabia Health Ministry stated that they had completed the DNA profiling of all the unidentified pilgrims who were killed or injured in the crush. DNA samples of the next of kin of victims were collected at Al Nour Specialist Hospital, Mecca. Amer Shalabi is a professor of civil engineering at the University of Toronto's Transportation Research Institute, former Hajj pilgrim, and consultant to Saudi government on crowd management. Shalabi, who specializes in transportation planning for large-scale events, proposed using smartphones and other static and dynamic sensors to provide authorities real-time information that could identify potential trouble places during the Hajj. He also suggests that some of the effective methods of highway traffic flow management, such as flow metering, could be adapted for streamlining crowd flows in Mecca. Keith Still, professor of crowd science at Manchester Metropolitan University in Britain, who helped redesign the Jamarat, the pillars representing the devil stoned by pilgrims, after a disaster in 2004, said there was criticism at the time that the upgrades at the Jamarat had not been extended to other areas. He said, "For complex systems that flow in and out, if you make one change along the way, it can have knock-on and ripple effects everywhere. Change any one part of a system with 3 million people, and there's a danger of an accident like this." Mohammed Ajmal, a physician specializing in emergency medicine and former manager of a medical center established to treat Indian Hajj pilgrims, detailed issues with both the design of the Mina tent city and quick access to disaster medical care at the site. Ajmal discussed structural design flaws in Mina, calling it a badly designed death trap in times of disaster, as it attempts to funnel tens of thousands of people through T intersections, such as the junction of Streets 204 and 223, where the crush occurred. Compression asphyxia is the cause of death for most victims of a crowd collapse and can occur within 10 minutes. Ajmal notes that Mina's design prevents medical care from arriving within that time, stating that people at crush sites are destined to die within minutes before any medical help can reach the site. Lebanon-based Arabic language daily Ad-Diyar reported that a convoy escorting Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud, Deputy Crown Prince and Saudi Minister of Defense, composed of 200 soldiers and 150 police officers, initiated the disaster by blocking a street, forcing pilgrims to turn around against the flow of traffic. The paper also alleged that the Deputy Crown Prince and entourage swiftly left the scene and that the Saudi authorities sought to impose a media blackout on reporting the prince's absence in the area. Iranian media reported the Ad-Diyar story, and Iranian Hajj officials stated that 2 streets near the disaster point had been sealed for unknown reasons, while the Iranian Fars news agency quoted a member of the Iraqi parliament, Hassan Salim, as saying, "The Mina disaster was an engineered tragedy to kidnap the Iraqi and Iranian officials on the pretext of the Mina incident." A reporter with the BBC's Hausa service, Yusuf Ibrahim Yakasai, confirmed that at least one road leading to the Jamarat was blocked. Saudi officials denied the reports, stating diplomatic convoys take place in the south of Mina and in tunnels, while the crush took place in the north. The Saudi government was reported to have beheaded 28 people found responsible for the disaster. Iran's Ayatollah Ali Khamenei accused the Saudis of killing injured pilgrims by putting them in containers along with the dead. The 2015 Mina crush disaster has increased tensions in the already strained relationship between Saudi Arabia and Iran, and to calls from politicians in a number of Muslim nations for changes in oversight of Mecca and the Hajj, and bolstered opposition to King Salman among the senior members of the Saudi Arabian royal family. Politicians and religious leaders in a number of Muslim countries have cited the 2015 Mina crush disaster as a reason for control of the Hajj be given either to a different nation or to a pan-Islamic organization. Mehmet Ali Sahin, deputy chair of Turkey's Justice and Development Party, AKP, criticized the Saudi organization and claimed that Turkey could do a better job than Saudi Arabia at organizing the Hajj pilgrimage, calling for Turkey to be entrusted with its management. Nouri al-Maliki, former Prime Minister of Iraq, proposed that the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, should take over administration of the Hajj. Mohammed Imami Kashani, an Iranian Ayatollah, also demanded transfer of the control of the Hajj to the OIC, stating, Saudi Arabia is incapable of organizing the pilgrimage. The running of the Hajj must be handed over to Islamic states. Hassan Nasrallah, Secretary General of Hezbollah, stated that Saudi Arabia should allow Muslim countries to help the kingdom run the Hajj pilgrimage rituals, emphasizing the need for the formation of a Muslim committee to supervise the management of the annual Islamic event. The Saudi government rejected such calls. Saudi Prince Turki Al Faisal stated Saudi control over the Hajj was a matter of sovereignty and privilege and service. In 2016, Supreme Leader of Iran, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, sent a global message via his website severely criticizing Saudi rulers for what he called the crimes they have caused throughout the world of Islam, and asked they be held responsible. In his message, Khamenei described the nature of Saudi rulers as blasphemous, faithless, dependent, and materialistic, and asked the world of Islam to know them. He demanded reconsidering the management of two holy places and the issue of Hajj due to what he described as Saudi rulers' oppressive behavior towards God's guests, referring to the 2015 Mina disaster. Otherwise, Muslims would face biggest problems, he warned. The hesitation and failure to rescue the half-dead and injured people is also obvious and incontrovertible. They murdered them, he said.
أمس اللي حصل والله فجعنا بس الحمد لله في ذمة الله إن شاء الله الله يرحمهم ونحن ربنا يسهل لنا يا رب إيش نقول نتوكل على الله إن شاء الله حجا مقبولة يا ربي.
مرة خايفة بس يعني لازم أروح يعني ضروري أروح للجمرات الله توكلت على الله.
بالنسبة للاستشهاد امبارح شو؟
بس مرة والله مرة حيحزن يعني سبحان الله هذا قدر وقدر الله يرحمهم إن شاء الله يكونوا في الجنة كلهم إن شاء الله اللي توفقوا من هنا.
اليوم الحمد لله إن شاء الله يكون ميسر بإذن الله إن شاء الله على خير واللي حصل أمس يعني الحمد لله برضك على مسار يعني بس إن شاء الله اليوم تكون أفضل إن شاء الله بإذن الله.
ایران از زبان اقتدار خودش نیز استفاده خواهد کرد.
Rouhani suggested that the Mina crush could be the result of the Saudi government moving their best troops to Yemen and leaving Hajj crowd control to less experienced soldiers.
Day in, day out, warplanes from a Saudi-led coalition are taking off for Yemen. They're supporting a UN Security Council resolution to restore Yemen's legitimate government, ousted by Iran-backed rebels, the Houthis. But as well as hitting military targets, they've been accused of killing hundreds, possibly thousands, of Yemeni civilians. I went into their coalition headquarters in Riyadh to ask the Saudis how they choose their targets. They showed me a no-strike map, sites supposedly off-limits to airstrikes, but their chief spokesman also accused the rebel Houthis of hiding amongst civilians.
When you conduct a war in such circumstances, like I told you, where a militias melt with the civilian, is too difficult. Mistakes could happen, and we do what is necessary to protect the civilian. We are here to protect civilian. We are not here to harm the civilian.
How is it, though, that in practice the UN estimates 60% of the casualties in Yemen are caused by airstrikes? Something's going wrong between the theory and the practice.
Writing reports from distant, it is not unhelpful to make a good decision for the Yemeni population.
So you're saying the UN's got it wrong?
I think it is a wrong number when say, or exaggerating number when they say 60% of the casualty in Yemen is due to the airstrike. We target troops in the fight, in the line of contact. Doesn't reflect the number that United Nations conduct.
I flew south, hundreds of miles away, down to the tense Yemeni border. The Saudis took me under armed escort to the front line. There, a general told me they're facing bands of gunmen who sneak across the border.
There are militias and there are gangs. The targeting of civilians is against the law.
Further back from the border in the town of Najran, I was shown a house hit by a rocket from Yemen just the day before.
Everything inside at home, in the home, it is broken. He has his country. I am in my country. We are brothers in Islam.
The shell that landed here was one of 4 that landed yesterday, just in this village right close to the Yemeni border with Saudi Arabia. The damage is minuscule compared to what's going on in Yemen. There's no comparison, but it is a reminder that Saudi Arabia is at war, and the war has come to Saudi citizens.
While Ibrahim Raisi, Iran's then state prosecutor, claimed the disaster had been caused by the Saudi officials blocking a road so as to clear a path for a Saudi convoy, and that the House of Saud should be held responsible by international law. Iranian legal experts later decided that Iran could not bring such a case before the International Court of Justice or the International Criminal Court due to jurisdictional issues. On November 24, 2015, Iran announced that it was forming its own fact-finding committee to investigate the disaster. Iran claims that the death toll of the disaster greatly exceeds what has been reported, and that between 4,700 and 7,500 pilgrims actually died. The MENA disaster increased and emboldened opposition to Saudi King Salman. The Guardian reported after the disaster that a senior Saudi prince has launched an unprecedented call for change in the country's leadership, writing 2 letters calling for his replacement. The prince was quoted by The Guardian as saying, "The public are also pushing this very hard, all kinds of people. They say you have to do this or the country will go to disaster." According to reports, favored to replace Salman is his younger brother, Prince Ahmed bin Abdulaziz, another son of Saudi Arabia's founding king, Ibn Saud, and former interior minister. The likelihood of such a coup, at least in the short term, and the authenticity of the prince's letter have both been questioned. However, structural economic problems, the Yemen war, and discord in the royal family all contribute to the real possibility of instability for Saudi Arabia. But as the holder of the royal title, custodian of the 2 holy mosques, King Salman has been embarrassed by the twin disasters that bracketed the 2015 Hajj season, the Mecca crane collapse, and the MENA crush. Description as stampede. Some academics who study crowd movements and crushing disasters have questioned the use of the term stampede. The rhetoric of stampede is often used to imply that the crowd is animalistic or mindless. But from a crowd psychology point of view, I'm sure that there was a logical explanation for the crush. University of Sussex crowd behavior expert Anne Templeton told Newsweek. The density of the Hajj has been shown to reach up to 6 to 8 people per square meter, so I would be very surprised if a stampede, implying people running mindlessly, could occur in the first place. The academics argue that the MENA disaster is better described as a progressive crowd collapse, beginning at densities of about 6 to 7 persons per square meter. Individuals are pressed so closely against each other they are unable to move as individuals, and shock waves can travel through a crowd which, at such densities, behaves somewhat like a fluid. If a single person falls, or other people reach down to help, waves of bodies can be involuntarily precipitated forward into the open space. One such shock wave can create other openings in the crowd nearby, precipitating further crushing. Unable to draw breath, people in a crowd can also be crushed while standing. The two pyramid-shaped adrenal glands, one atop each kidney, are not among the body's larger organs. Each is about 2 inches in diameter, but in situations of sudden stress, like the theater fire, they would instantly have prepared the body for flight or fight. When one becomes frightened, the adrenals release large quantities of the hormone epinephrine into the blood system, which instantly help the body adjust to the sudden stress by increasing the rate and strength of the heartbeat, raising blood pressure, and speeding up the conversion of glycogen into glucose, providing a burst of energy to the muscles. For those trying to battle their way to the exits, this adrenaline rush would have propelled them on in their desperate attempts to escape. Then there were those seared by the flames. For them, the end would have come quickly. The body exposed to fire often assumes what is called the pugilistic attitude, in which the flexor or bicep muscles contract so that the victim's arms in particular are outstretched and fixed in an attitude commonly adopted by boxers. Those who were trampled or were piled on top of one another in the doorways died in still another way by traumatic or crush asphyxia, a particularly horrific end. The victim of such crushing would have experienced the sensation of tremendous pressure on the body, pressure sufficient enough to fracture ribs. If the person was conscious, they might have felt as if their head were about to explode, or their eyes pop out. Those victims of the Iroquois who lost consciousness immediately were the fortunate ones. Slow asphyxia can take 2 to 3 minutes to kill. Such was the fate of those trapped inside what had been advertised as the best theater on earth.
To give you a sense of just how forceful that is, a single crowd can be strong enough to bend metal in situations like this. It's important to always exercise caution, as big crowds have the potential to get out of hand. But if you find yourself in the middle of a crowd that's starting to move or crush in on you, the best thing you can do is to not panic. Do everything you can to stay on your feet and try to communicate with those around you with hand gestures. Don't fight the crowd. That will only tire you out. And if the crowd starts moving, keep moving with it by trying to angle off diagonally to reach the edges. If you see a tree, car, or anything large, try to reach it to get some cover from the crowd and get above it if you can. And finally, try keeping your arms up to your chest like a boxer. And if you can, maintain a boxer stance with feet apart to keep your balance. Don't forget to keep your eyes open. But if you do end up getting pushed to the ground, try your best to get up if you can. If not, and you're stuck on the ground with the crowd around you, curl up into a ball and put your arms over your head, protecting it as best you can. But keep trying to get back up when you get a chance. And if you're at the concert with a friend and can help them without losing balance and falling yourself, then help them as best you can. Ask them to reach an arm up and grab it while trying to get others around you to help. Once the crowd dissipates, if you notice someone not moving, see if they need help. If they're not breathing, then you need to perform hands-only CPR, which means pushing on their chest at the rate of 100 beats per minute. You can sing the song Staying Alive in your head for the beat until help arrives. And if they're bleeding, you'll need to apply direct pressure with whatever cloth you have available and keep talking to them to try and keep them calm until help arrives. It's better to be prepared than to be thrust into a situation like this blind. But don't forget to always monitor the situation around you, because it could keep you and your loved ones safe.
Use of the word stampede, says Edwin Galea of the University of Greenwich, is the result of pure ignorance and laziness. It gives the impression that it was a mindless crowd only caring about themselves and that they were prepared to crush people. In reality, people are only directly crushed by others who have no choice, and the people who can choose are too far away from the epicenter to be aware of what is happening. According to experts, true stampedes and panics rarely occur except when a crowd is fleeing in fear, such as from a fire, and rarely does trampling by other human beings in such stampede conditions result in fatal injuries. If you look at the analysis, I've not seen any instances of the cause of mass fatalities being a stampede, says Keith Still, professor of crowd science at Manchester Metropolitan University. People don't die because they panic because they are dying.